that logical folders which are used to maintain the collection of SAS files or SAS members. Library is used to maintain the collection of SAS file or SAS member, and they use it to create the connection in between the SAS and external data sources. Library is used to create the connection in between SAS and
external data source.
And we can broadly categorize the libraries into two categories. One is system defined libraries. System defined means the name itself indicates those are created by the system, but we have not created them. As an example, we have SAS help, SAS user,
and work.
And we have user defined. When it comes to the user defined, it is again of two types: dependent library, independent library. Dependent means we will create it on depending on the external data. Independent means we will create it on depending on the SAS itself. Okay. If we create the library on depending on the external data, it is nothing but dependent. If you create the library on depending on the SAS itself, it is nothing but independent. So let's see the examples for all of them. Here we have libraries. I opened the library. Check out totally how many libraries do we have?
4. Now
all these 4 are called
plus
as
the map.
system defined. Why? Because we have not created them, but they were already existing in the SAS. That means they came into existence through the installation. If we have installed the SAS in a proper way, then automatically we will get these things into the SAS environment. But we will not.
Sorry, how about the map? Because you said there are 3: help, user, and work.
These 4 are system defined. We have not created them. Okay, they came into existence automatically if we install the SAS in a successful way. Okay.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be clear because you mentioned help, user, and work. You didn't mention the maps and the system.
These are the most important libraries. These 3 are the most important libraries, or in another word, these are the most frequently working libraries.
Okay.
Okay. With them, we will work very frequently. With them, we will work very frequently. So if you think about work is called as a temporary working library. Work is called as a temporary working library. Why we are calling it as a temporary working library is because if you store any information in the work, that information is available as long as the SAS is available in work. If you store any information in the work, it is available as long as the SAS session is available. But once I close the SAS, and if I reopen it, whatever we have in the work earlier, all that will be automatically deleted. Okay. Work is called as a temporary working library. Why we are calling it as a temporary working libraries because if you want, we can store the information in it, but whatever we store, all that information is available only
For the moment, once the SAS
single
session is
SAS.
open.
Yes. Once I close the SAS, whatever we stored here, all that will be automatically
Go
delete.
if it's not saved.
Exactly opposite to the work is SAS user. Exactly opposite to the SAS user. Exactly opposite to the work is nothing but SAS user. Even this is also a system-defined library, but it is a
Permanent.
why we are
Okay.
calling it as a permanent library is because if you want, we can store the files in it, and whatever may be the files we stored in it, those files are available as long as the SAS is available in your machine, and it will
Okay.
be removed only once you specifically delete it.
Okay.
Unless you delete it, it will not be removed from the system. Okay?
Okay.
Unless you specifically delete them, they will not be deleted from the library SAS user. But work is not like that. Whether we delete or not, automatically it deletes the files in it. But SAS user will delete only once you specifically delete them. Suppose if you are not deleting, then it will not be removed from the system. That's why we are calling it as permanent. And here we have SAS help, and it is called as a read-only library. Work is temporary, SAS user is permanent, SAS help is read-only. Why we are calling it as a read-only library is because if you want, we can work with the members of the SAS help, but we cannot modify the files of the SAS help. We cannot delete the files of the SAS help. We cannot create any new files in the SAS help. All that you can do is you can simply work with it, but you cannot modify it, you cannot delete them, and you cannot create any new file in it. That's why we are calling it as a read-only. So one is temporary, one is permanent, and one is a read-only. But apart from them, if you create any other library, then all those are called as user-defined
Fine.
libraries. So let's see what are user-defined libraries. To explain user-defined libraries, I have taken three different items as an example: Excel, Access, and a folder sample. We have Excel. In this Excel, we have different sheets and we have some information on it. And here we have Access, where we have several tables. Okay. And finally, here we have the folder sample. So I will take these three as the examples to explain the user-defined
Libraries.
libraries. Let me start with Excel. I open the Excel. Check out how many sheets do we have for Excel.
3.
But do we have the data in all the three sheets?
No, just one.
We have the
Sheet
data
2.
only in the sheet 2.
Sheet 2.
But 1 and 3 both are empty. Now I'm trying to create the library from this Excel. I want to create the library from this Excel. So what I will try to do is I will enter into the SAS, and then this is called as toolbar. In the toolbar we have new library icon. We have new library icon. So just select it. As I selected it, it has opened a window with the title new library. Okay.
Yeah.
Now declare the name. By what name you want to create the library. I want to create the library by the name test1. Check out right now, do we have any library with the title test1?
No.
We don't have any library with the name test1. So I want to create the library with the name test1. Then we should specify the engine. Engine means these are the different data sources with which the SAS will interact. These are the different data sources with which the SAS will interact. But presently I want to get the data from which one?
Excel.
Excel. So I have selected the engine as Excel. Then we have to specify the location of the workbook. We have to specify the location of the workbook. We know that the Excel is there on the desktop. So I will just go for browse. I will select the desktop and then I will select the Excel. Okay. Then I said open. Then I said okay. We know that earlier we have only 4 libraries. Now we got 5th one with the title test1.
Yeah.
As I opened it, check out how many tables do we have?
3
tables. And if you can remember, in the Excel we have 3 sheets. That means we got each sheet as 1 table.
Yeah.
And we know that in which table do we have the data?
Number 2.
We have the data only in the table 2.
Yeah.
But in 1 and 3 we have nothing. Okay. So whatever we have there in the Excel, we got the same as it is into the SAS. Now let me go with another example. This time I want to take access as an example. Access as an example. Check out, we have different tables here.
Yeah.
I want to create the library from this access. Same process. Go for new library. And declare the name. By what name you want to create the library. Specify the engine. I want to get it from the access. And the access database is located on the
desktop.
So I will go for browse. I'll select the desktop and I'll select the access. Remember that access is a database. Access is a database. So we should provide the user ID, password, database password, etc. if we have security. If it doesn't have any security, then directly go for OK. So here we got test. I opened it. Check out, we got all the tables. If you want to check whether we got the same data or not, we can verify it. What is the first table?
Clinical exam 1 V2.
V1, V2. Visit 1 and visit 2. Okay. We have patient ID, visit, pulse, BP systolic, diastolic, cardio. This is the information.
Respiratory.
So if you check, do we have the same?
Yeah.
So whatever we have there in the access, not the same as it is into the SAS. Okay. So we created the library from the Excel as well as access. Until now, we tried to get the data from other than the SAS. Because Excel is not a SAS file, access is not a SAS file. So we got the data from the external files. But now I want to get the data from the SAS itself. Check out, we have folder sample. How many items are there in the folder sample?
8 items.
8 items are there, but as you keenly observe, out of 8, we do have some SAS files.
Yeah, 5.
5 are nothing but SAS files. Now I want to get the data from the SAS itself. Same process. I will go for new library. Name of the library is test3. and I want to keep the
Default.
engine as default. Whenever we set default, it means the
SAS.
SAS will behave as an engine. Till now we got the data from the external source, but for the first time we want to have the data from the SAS itself. Then I will go for browse. We know that the folder sample is there on the desktop.
Yeah.
So I selected the folder sample and it shows all the
Folder.
8 members in it.
Yeah.
All the 8 members in it. So I have verified them and I said OK. Then I said OK. Check out the test 3. Do we have all the 8 or only those 5 which are nothing but SAS files?
Yeah, only the 5 that are SAS files.
So the folder may have number of items in it, but we will not have all of them into the SAS. We will get only those which are nothing but SAS files.
Okay, because we chose the engine type as a default, right?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
So as you observe, the icon for the test 1 and test 2 is different from the remaining all.
Yes.
Okay. We have some globe-like symbol on the icon. It indicates those are dependent. Why? Because we created them on depending on the Excel and Access other than the SAS.
Yeah.
But this is nothing but from the SAS itself. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have seen examples for system defined, and we have seen examples for the user defined, and the user defined also we have seen, okay, what is dependent and what is independent.
Okay. So sorry, let me get this right. So like the test 3 is independent library, right?
Test 3 is independent, exactly.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So we have seen examples for all this.
Yep.
Now let us think about the definition. What was the definition?
Definition of what?
I said these are definition for the library.
Okay. Logical folders which are used to maintain collection of SAS files and members. They are also
logical folders. I didn't say these are folders, isn't it?
Yeah.
I said libraries are nothing but logical folders. Now the question is why we are calling it as a logical folder. We are not calling it as a folder. We are calling it as a logical folder. To explain this, I just want to go with a few questions. Okay, based on your understanding, try to answer them. Okay. So my question is like this. On the desktop, we have Excel and Access. Depending on them, I created test 1 and test 2 in the SAS. Okay, test 1 and test 2 in the SAS. If you check the properties, test 1 was created from Excel and Excel is there on the desktop. And test 2, it was created from the Access, and even the Access is also there on the desktop. Now my question is, suppose on the desktop, if the Excel and Access are not existing, do that has any effect on the test 1 and test 2 in the SAS?
If it's not existing, I think it will have an effect because you need to show the path where the file is from, so it will have an effect because you need to direct.
Definitely. That's why we are calling it as a dependent library. Otherwise, there is no need to call them as a dependent library. Why? Because these libraries are physically dependent on the external data source. So as these are physically dependent on the external data source, we are calling them as dependent library. So as long as those external data sources are existing, these are meaningful. If those data sources are not existing, then these are meaningless.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, same question in reverse. We know the test one was created from Excel,
Excel.
and Excel is there on the desktop.
Yeah.
Suppose if I delete the test one in the SAS, do that has any effect on the Excel which is there on the desktop?
No, it doesn't have an effect on it. It will still exist on the desktop.
Why? Because even before creating the library, this Excel is existing.
Yeah.
And even after creating the library also,
it will still exist.
this Excel is existing. So it doesn't matter whether the library is existing or not, but
Yeah.
it does matter whether the source is existing or not. I repeat, it doesn't matter whether the library is existing or not, but it
Yeah.
does matter whether the source is existing or not.
Not.
Okay. Now one last question. Check out in Access, we have number of tables.
Yeah.
In Access, we have number of tables, and one of the table is there by the name programs. One of the
table is there by the name programs.
One of the table is there by the name programs. Then definitely we will be having programs even in the SAS also.
Yes.
Suppose if I delete programs in the SAS. Okay.
Yeah.
Do that has any effect on the access which is there on the desktop?
No, it will have a effect on the program file in the access on the desktop because the program was
Check out,
already
do we have
existing.
program? That's why
No.
it has a logical folder. Don't misunderstand that. If you create a library, it doesn't mean that we have copied something. Library means not copying the data. Library
Okay.
means creating a connection. So as long as that connection is existing, whatever may be the modifications that we will do in the SAS will affect the external data source, and at the same time, whatever may be the modifications that we will do in the external data source, obviously it will affect even in the SAS also, vice versa. But all this happens as long as the library is existing. But if the library is not existing, it means that the connection got deleted. As the connection got deleted, it doesn't have any effect over the external data source. So don't misunderstand. While we are dealing with Excel, what I did, I deleted the library itself. Regarding test 1, I deleted the library itself. That means I deleted the connection. But when it comes to the access, the library is still existing. That means the connection is still existing. That's why if you do any modifications here, it will affect the external data source.
Okay. Sorry. Let me a question. Like, assuming in the Excel, like the text one, the Excel that we have in SAS, you delete the work sheet 1 or 3 or 2, so it will still affect the worksheet in the Excel on the desktop.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. If the library, if the connection is existing, if you do any modifications, definitely it will affect the external data source.
Okay.
If the connection got deleted, then we don't have any control over the external data. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So why I'm calling it as a logical folder is because original data or actual data is there on the desktop only, not in the SAS. Actual data is there on the desktop only. It is not there in the SAS. Even though it is not originally existing here, still we can control it. That's why we are calling it as logical folder. Why we are calling it as a logical folder is because actual data is not there in the SAS. Actual data is there on the desktop only, but through the libraries we can control them. Through the libraries we can control them. And what I said, it is used to maintain the collection of SAS files or SAS members. It is used to maintain the collection of SAS files or SAS members. I already showed one example. In the folder sample, we have 8 members. But once I create the library, okay, do we have all these 8 into the SAS?
No.
We got only those which are nothing but SAS files, not the remaining files. Okay. And we have seen how to create the connection in between the SAS and external data source. We created in between SAS and Excel, SAS and Access also. Now,
so quick question: what's the meaning of SAS members? Is it the same thing with SAS files?
I will explain. We have not went with it.
Okay.
Now, methods to create the library. Methods to create the library. If you want to create the library, we have functional method and we have technical method. Functional means using Windows or GUI, whatever may be the example that we have seen till now, it is nothing but functional. Technical means by declaring
program or
code. Okay? When you declare a program or code, then it is nothing but technical. So the syntax for technical is like this. As said, libname. This is the keyword which is used to create the library. Then, as said, library reference. By what name you want to refer the library? Earlier I referred the library test1, test2, like that, whatever name you want. It should be declared in the second place. Then we should mention engine. From which source we want to create it. Is it from Excel? Is it from Access? Whatever may be. And then we have to provide the details about the engine. Okay, we should provide details about the engine. So let's create the library from the Excel. So I just copied it. And I said libname, I want to create the library by the name test4. I want to create it from the Excel, where the Excel is there on the desktop by the name sample and its extension is XLS. Right now, we don't have any library with the title test4, but as I submitted it, check out test4, everything that we have in Excel.
Yeah.
Like that, I want to create library from Access with the title test5. Okay. And I want to create it from the Access, where the Access is located on the desktop. So here I submitted it. Check out, here we have test1. Okay. And we can create independent. If you want to create independent, I said the SAS will behave as an engine. That's why I'm not giving any engine. We are simply specifying the name and location of the folder. Here we submitted it. Okay. Now, not only creating the library, if you want, we can delete. Earlier we deleted the library.
Sorry, go through the what you said in the thesis again. What did you say? Independent? I didn't get that. Repeat,
I have
please.
not given any engine, that's why it is independent.
Okay, and
Here I said
it will.
Excel, access, these are dependent, but this is independent, that's why I have not declared anything. That means here SAS will behave as an engine. That's why it has become independent.
Okay.
Earlier we deleted the library manually. How we deleted it? We used to select the library and we used to go for delete. But if you want, we can delete it even using the program. Even using program.
Cool.
Right now we have a library by the name test2. So I'm trying to delete it. Check out, we don't have test. Okay. If you want to delete all the libraries at a time, I will say underscore all underscore. Underscore all underscore represents all the libraries. All in the sense user defined, not system defined. Check out. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the question is, as we have two different ways to create the library and to delete the library, what is the difference between these two? If you create the library functional, we have a checkbox enable at startup. If you select it, it makes the library available for multiple SAS sessions. For simple understanding, we are making it permanent. But if you have not selected it, the library is available only for a single SAS session, nothing but temporary. So if you want, we can make it available for multiple SAS sessions or for a single SAS session. Or if you want, we can make it permanent or we can make it temporary. But when it comes to the program will always make the library only for a single SAS session. Program will always make the library only for a single SAS session. That is the only difference between technical and functional. But in real time, we will always prefer to go with the technical rather than functional. Rules for naming the library. If you want to name the library, we should follow these rules. The name should contain maximum 8 characters. The name must begin with a character or underscore. Okay. The name must begin with a character or underscore. The name may have numbers but not at the beginning, and the name won't accept any special characters or the name won't accept any special character or symbols except underscore. So if you want to name the library, we can declare a name for the library with maximum 8 characters. We cannot declare a name with more than 8 characters. That too, the name must begin with a character or underscore. And the name may have numbers, but those numbers should be in the middle or at the ending, but not at the beginning. And the name won't accept any special characters or symbols, except underscore. Special character means space. Symbol means hyphen, comma, star, any symbol. Okay. So while you create the library, we must remember these rules. And finally, as a library is a folder which will maintain the collection of SAS files or SAS numbers. So let's see what are SAS files or SAS numbers. We have data file, data view, catalog, and MDDB. Here MDDB stands for multi-dimensional database. We used to have all these only in the system defined and user defined independent libraries, but dependent will support only the data file, not the remaining files. Data file and data view both are called by a single name dataset. Catalog is nothing but a subfolder which will maintain the collection of SAS programs. MDDB is used to maintain the collection of summarized data in multiple dimensions. Okay. Remember that we have 4 different members in the libraries, but we don't have all of them in all the libraries. System defined and user defined independent will support all of them, but user defined dependent will support only the data file. It will not support remaining files. We can call data file and data view with a single name dataset. Check out in SAS help. We have number of items. We have number of items. Out of those number of items, I have selected some of them. Whatever I have selected here, all these are nothing but data sets. In specific, all the above are data file, all the below are data view. But in general, all are nothing but data set. Then why we are calling both of them by a single name data set is because data file is a table and it maintains the data in rows and columns. Data view is also a table, it maintains the data in rows and columns. As both are tables, as both are maintaining the data in rows and columns, we are calling both of them by a single name data set. Then why do we have two different icons and why do we have two different names? Is because of their internal structure. We have some structural differences in between a data file and data. Once we enter into the data step programming, there I will explain what is the difference between data file and data. Here we have yellow color folder-like things. We have yellow color folder-like things. These are all called as catalogs. Catalogs are used to maintain the collection of SAS programs. If you want to save this program, we know that we can save it like this. But if I save it, it will be saved on the system. But I don't want to save it on the system, I want to save it in the library. Directly library won't accept the program, so what we have to do is we have to create the catalog. In whatever library you want to create the catalog, right click in it, go for new, then select the catalog. Declare the name, by what name you want to create the catalog. I want to create the catalog by the name Austin. Check out, do we have anything in the Austin?
No.
It is empty. Now I am trying to save this program in this place. So instead of going for save, I will go for file, then I will say save as object. I will go for save as object, where it gives the whole list of libraries. I want to store it in the work. And in the work, what is the library that we have?
Austin.
Austin. The subfolder is nothing but Austin. I will select it. And then we have to declare the name. By what name you want to save it? I want to save it by the name testing. Earlier Austin is empty, but now we have testing. Same, whatever we wrote here, we have the same information as it is. Okay. So catalog will maintain the collection of SAS programs. And finally, here we have MDDBs. Can you see these yellow color cube-like structures?
Yeah.
These are called as MDDBs, multi-dimensional databases. Normal table will maintain the data in rows and columns, but MDDBs will maintain the data in rows, columns, subcolumns, and sub-subcolumns also. It makes the information more categorized. And it will maintain summarized data like min, max, mean, all that kind of stuff. So this is nothing but the fourth kind of member which we have in the libraries. Okay. And finally we have library concatenation. I have three different libraries, but all these three different libraries information I want to have in a single library. There I will say libname. I want to create the library by the name test7. I want to create it from the test4 5 6. If I run this, we have all the contents into test. So this is what we call as library concatenation. So with this, we finished everything that is related with the libraries. So your task is try to create the libraries from different data sources. I created from Excel and Access. In the similar way, try to create the library from Excel, Access, Word, PDF, RTF, text document, HTML file. As many sources you have, try to create the library from all of them. And once the library got created, then try to modify the data in the SAS and observe how that is affecting the external data. And at the same time, while you are practicing, just check whether these rules are right or wrong. Remember that these rules are applicable for both technical as well as functional methods also. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is the whole information regarding the libraries. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. First of all, you said about the software, like the Windows you're using, because I don't have it.
Just contact your consultancy. Okay, they will provide that.
Okay, okay, okay. I didn't know that was their job.
Just
Then
make a call to them and inform them that Nandhu has started programming and I want to have the software as early as possible. Then they will do the installation on your machine.
okay, all right.
That's it.
So um, you mentioned that ideally that, like, when you're working, that you need to be using the technical method of using the of creating the library, like the
Yes.
libname, lib reference engine, and details, another method. But how about when you're working on a big file and you want to save it, since it does not automatically save? How do you do that?
Save the program and run it again. You will get it. If you close the SAS, it means only the library is deleted, but the actual data is still existing. So if you run the code again you will get the library. Again you will get the data.
Okay.
Okay, if you delete the
So,
library, it means only connection is deleted, but the data is still existing on the desktop or somewhere in the local machine. Okay, so if you want to get it again run the program, again you will get it.
okay. But then, like, why don't you prefer the functional method? Why do you prefer a technical method?
Why? Because functional method doesn't have any record. We don't have any information how it came into existence if you create it. But technical means we have a record. We will write a program. So next time when you walk through the code, you will have an idea. Okay, on that so-and-so day, I created this library from this source, and the file is located in this location. Like that, you will have a clear picture how that library came into existence. But for functional, as it doesn't need any code, we don't have any record how that library came into existence. Okay, that's why we will always prefer to go with the
Okay.
technical. And one more thing is we have security. As we close the SAS, library will be deleted. Suppose if a new person has went with your system, he will not
Mm.
have any library here. So he doesn't know what kind of work you did. But if the
Okay.
library is existing, as the data is existing, he can watch the data and he can have an idea. Okay, he's working on this. We don't have security with it. That is
Okay.
second reason.
All right. Okay, that's fine. Please, like the task or the homework you gave me, can you type it in the notepad so that it can be clear, like what I need to do, and send it to me to get
Sure,
the
I
install?
will
Yeah.
just write it on the notepad and I will send it to you.
All right. Thanks. I will do that. I
Okay,
will
and I
appreciate
just
that.
want to make sure one thing. Okay, the whole training will be there for 35 to maximum 40 sessions, where each session will be 30 minutes to maximum 1 hour. Okay, it depends upon the topic. Okay, so
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know. But on the contrary, I was informed that the training session is 60 to 90 minutes. That was what my consultancy told me, and I
okay,
just like
actually it is not like that. Maybe by mistake they have given the information like to you. The session will be 30 minutes to maximum 60 minutes. Okay, the whole training will be like 35 to maximum 40 sessions.
okay. I
Okay,
mean, that's what they told me. Maybe you could try to contact them and clarify them. That was why I was kind of sometimes about the time I would try to talk. But thank you for telling me. You will try to tell them so that they will clarify me on that. Yeah, yeah. I
okay.
was told it's 60 to 90 minutes.
Maybe they told like that because if you got any questions, that means not only regarding the training, maybe some interaction. If you got any questions, we can discuss those questions regarding on that basis. Maybe they have told you in that way, but actually the training is not like that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay then. Okay, then bye.
Thanks. See you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.